Welcome back to Session 5 of the English Learner Office Bites. I am Dr. Sylvia Martinez, and joining us today is the AEDY team, Jess Haas, Kat Zimmerman, and Bethany Sedella. PaTTAN's mission. The mission of the Pennsylvania Training and Technical Assistance Network, PaTTAN, is to support the efforts and initiatives of the Bureau of Special Education and to build the capacity of local educational agencies to serve students who receive special education services. Our goal for each child is to ensure individualized education program IEP teams begin with the general education setting with the use of supplementary aids and services before considering a more restrictive environment. Session 5 will focus on the program model, the daily services for English learners, how often it is delivered, and what do English learner services look like. The next slide is a familiar slide. This slide represents the demographics of an English learner individual language learning plan with our student Juan. In Session 4, we delved into the student demographic information. You may ask, why again? This part of the EL-ILLP contains the information that will assist ESL and non-ESL instructors in planning for any students you will be serving. In this case, our student is Juan. In Session 4, we identified the two program models, which were EL-specific English-only instruction and mixed classes with English-only support. Usually only one program is identified. The next 4 slides will define the 6 different program models. LEAs and AEDY programs must choose one program model. A second one is acceptable if it is necessary. Remember, the program model should be based on the identified EL student's academic and linguistic profile. This document is included in Schoology. This slide gives a brief outline of how classifying language instruction educational programs, LIEPs, should be planned. This would include addressing providing ELD instruction to ELs daily and throughout the school day, ELs proficiency levels, collaborative teaching, co-planning and/or co-teaching with a certified ESL specialist and a non-ESL certified instructor. A possible specialized newcomer program with self-contained, sheltered content classes and intensive direct ELD instruction with the purpose to transition to other LIEPs when they are ready. Reporting purposes should also be part of an EL plan, PIMS and access for ELs, for example. Once an LEA determines what their LIEP will be, effective implementation becomes the daily responsibility of all administrators, faculty, and staff. There are 2 questions posed on this slide. Question number 1, what is the goal of the program with respect to a student's native language? There are 3 goals. The first goal is to develop proficiency. The second goal is used to support English language proficiency. The third goal, it is not used. English language proficiency is not used in this goal. The instruction and support will be provided only in English. What is the class composition of a majority of a student's academic classes? The first class composition is all students are ELs. The next one, students' academic classes are a mix of English learners and native English speakers. This slide presents an overview of the definition of each LIEP. The next 2 slides will give a thorough explanation on how to decide which program model will address your English learner students' linguistic needs. Take a few seconds to look over the different program models that are presented to you. This slide explains the decision process for classifying LIEPs with 2 questions to guide you. The first question: what is the goal of the program with respect to a student's native language? If you are to include the student's native language, the goal is to, number 1, improve their English and native language. Number 2, use native language support to improve English. Number 3, or use English-only support through instruction and support provided in English only. The second question: what is the class composition in a majority of a student's academic class? For example, a class that is composed of only English learners in any academic class, such as math, science, or social studies, their program model would be EL specific. Or students composed of English learners and native English-speaking students, the program model would be mixed. Take a minute to view this table in this slide and how the language goal corresponds to EL specific and mixed. This slide represents a flowchart on how you identify your program model. Follow the model descriptors with me. Beginning with START, is the English learner expected to gain proficiency in a non-English language? If the answer is yes, and the English learners are with native English speakers, the program model is mixed bilingual, with equal focus on English and a partner language, including content instruction in the partner language, such as Spanish. However, if the answer is no, and no native English speakers, the program model is English learner bilingual. The focus for English learner bilinguals is the shared language, for example, Spanish, with some instruction provided in Spanish. The next question will demonstrate 4 different program models. Is the student's native language used to support English acquisition while in at least one academic course with other English learners? Let's begin with the yes program models: EL-specific transitional instruction and mixed classes with native language support. If the answer is yes, and all students are English learners, the EL-specific transitional instruction program model would fit your EL plan to support English proficiency acquisition and not proficiency in the native language. However, mixed classes with native language support, the focus is to include the student's native language to support English proficiency acquisition, with most instruction provided in English. English learners and non-English learners are part of the classroom composition. The last 2 program models seem to be the norm for most English learner plans. If the student's native language is not used to support English acquisition, and the student takes at least one academic course with English learners only, your program model would be English learner specific English only instruction. However, if the student takes at least one academic course along with native English speaking students, the program model would be mixed classes with English only support, and English content and language skills are the instructional focus. English learners can get native language support inside or outside of the regular classroom, perhaps with a paraeducational instructor. Take a minute to study the flowchart and how the questions guide your program model. Which one would be your program model? This slide reviews our example student's program model in the block of time he receives ESL-ELD services. 1 received 45 minutes of ESL-ELD services daily. This schedule reflects an English language arts class on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, with the program model being mixed class with English-only support. Remember, a mixed class with English-only support is a class composition of English learners and non-English learners. On Tuesday and Thursday, Juan is in a pull-out setting, ESL-ELD, for 45 minutes, and the class composition is made up of English learner students only, which is an EL-specific only instruction program model. Therefore, Juan's ESL services are daily. At the secondary level, students are served during a block scheduling setting. At the elementary level, students might receive more minutes of service time depending on their proficiency level. This slide demonstrates how the required leader referral should be filled in for each student. The section that asks the nature and amount of service should be exactly what is stated in the EL-ILLP. This is just a gentle reminder to complete all of the required fields related to English learners when you complete the referral, as shown by the yellow highlights here. This slide includes links to the resources used in this presentation. For any questions you may have regarding Session 5, you may contact Jess Haas. Thank you for your participation in this session.